Okay, we're starting today first with the millennial must-have of the week.
So if you've seen me here in a while, I love farmhouse pottery. I buy things a little bit at a time because it is so pricey, but I love my tall silo mug. That's what Emily was drinking out of, and people are asking what.
It's my favorite. Does it fit in a cup holder in the
You're so big on
car?
holders. You're so funny.
Everybody, you just want to take it on the road when you
I
have
get
to
that, but
leave the house. I'm literally Googling farmhouse pottery right now because I did look on there to see the mug and I only found the other mug, the one that you have. And
okay, I'm gonna test it out, and I feel like if you did it sideways, where the handle went in between the two cup holders, if there's a slight opening, maybe it'll fit. But
because it has the handle.
it's the handle, but it also will get cold. So why are you? I put it in my to-go
It'll
travel.
get cold in Colorado, but for me, it's like a perfect.
Oh, it's already like a perfect temperature.
Yeah, it's just like the perfect. Like I want to go like this. I just want to go with my mug and go. I don't know.
Fair point. Okay, I don't know if it fits in the cup holder.
These are things we need to, really test out. Okay.
All right, the important things.
Here's my millennial must have of the week. I sound like I'm sponsored by True Botanicals, but I'm not. I have been using the hand cream. My hands are starting to look old. So I've been using this. True Botanicals was doing this 30-day, how do you say it? Chabula?
Oh, Chabula, yeah.
Chabula challenge, where if you try it for 30 days, like you can see a difference. So I did their hand cream for 30 days on my hands. Now I'm a hand model. Okay.
Oh, you did send me pictures on that, and I said I noticed the difference. It was like insane.
Thank you. Right?
Yeah.
30 days Chabula. They make a face cream too, so you can try that on your face. Anyway,
my mom, from the time I was 15, she was like, face, neck, chest, and back of hands.
yeah. We all need a lot of
she would
Chabula
always
in our life.
by the screen, and then she would tell me at night she would put on the cream and put gloves and sleep with them at night.
See?
I don't do that, but she did have great hands.
Okay, so now we're moving on to the topic of the day. Let's talk navigating tricky friendships for your kids, with your kids, or your kids are dealing with tricky friendships. This conversation started because we got a question or a suggestion for the podcast from somebody who suggested we do a whole podcast on how to navigate tricky friendships for her 9-year-old. I don't know if it was a girl or boy. But that being said, I thought that was a good idea.
Everyone's been there and been in this place where you feel like, oh, is that child a good influence on my child? Or they might not have the same values, or you like the child, obviously, but like the parents don't have the same values. So how do you deal with that? First, start off with understanding, not judgment, right? So start by helping your child understand rather than just rejecting the friend, if that makes sense, because we don't want anybody to feel rejected just because there's different values there. We're always trying to teach our children kindness. Saying something to your child like, everyone's family makes different decisions and choices about what feels right for them. In our family, we try to protect childhood by spending time in nature, reading, and using our imagination versus screens. Let's say that. I had a friend of mine come to me saying that her girls were spending time with another child who was very used to being on screens and YouTube and having lots of toys. And how do I deal with that? And what do I tell my girls? She has twin girls. And what do I tell my girls? Because they're feeling bad, like questioning, are we supposed to have more toys? Like, why aren't we watching a show? Is that what we're supposed to do? Obviously, these were younger kids. These were 3-year-olds. But the same thing can be said, say, for a 9-year-old. Let's get an example that the 9-year-old's friend was having different values and being on a screen, and you don't want your child on a screen all the time. So when you say that everybody's family is different, right, and start off with that, it reinforces your family's values without criticizing the other child or the parent for that matter, which helps your child develop empathy rather than like this black and white thinking that like, I'm doing it right, they're doing it wrong.
Yes, I love that.
It might work for that family, and that's okay. And you don't know that family's circumstances.
Actually, you mentioned the whole thing about kindness. And I want to bring up that you often say kids learn kindness from modeling, not from just saying it. So do you want to use this opportunity to elaborate?
I'll elaborate on that. So I think we often say, like, oh, we're just going to explain a concept to our child, and we think they should automatically internalize that and then do that. Whereas we all know that people learn by seeing and doing. Literally, like, we have mirror neurons in our brain that copy what someone else is doing. That's why when you go to a library and the librarian speaks softly to you, you automatically are quieter. When I'm
I
quiet,
know what you're going to say.
when she
When
knows,
you call me whispering,
she then starts whispering back, and I'm like,
I
why are
knew
you?
you were going to say that. It's my mirror, not neurons. So
So,
don't mess with me.
anyways, going back to the friendship part, ask your child, what do you enjoy about being with this other friend? And you might discover that your child likes playing pretend or drawing. So focus on those qualities. And those are the seeds of real friendship. If the only bond is around screens, it's more of a surface level friendship, right? It's gently revealing that this might not be that deep of a connection. And so if you get your child to find that out themselves, it's much easier than saying, don't hang out with that child.
Yeah, I think that's a great question to ask in general. How about dealing with competitive friendships? Seeing your child come home, talk about this one said this and they went up to me with this or that. I don't know.
Well, let's say that you're first seeing it, right? Like if you're on a play date and they're starting to argue, or there's three of them on a play date, which can be tough because that you create that triangle and sometimes one is excluded. We can definitely talk about exclusion too. But I like to try and find an activity where they can do something cooperatively rather
So if
than
they're competing, then you find that activity.
I find that activity that brings them together, whether
Okay.
you're going to be like, let's all bake together. One person does this and one person does that. And then we're going to do it together and all eat it together. They even have board games that are cooperative board games. And the same is thing to be said with siblings. If you find that they're being competitive, find ways for them to bond together and do things together.
Love that. Yeah, I'd love some more examples of cooperative things for kids to do on a play date.
Crafts. You're
I
not
mean, I have a very sports oriented child.
um, creating some kind of game around a sports game that requires you to work together, whether it's like how many times can you throw the ball back and forth without dropping it.
Oh, I love that idea.
So
Brilliant.
it requires both kids to work together. Going back to say like if the child's like coming over and saying, well, I don't want to play that, let's go watch a show, or let's go use an iPad. What do you say? You can encourage your child and preemptively let them know, or even say it yourself if the children are young enough. Just gently redirect them and say, let's do something that helps our mind grow strong and creative. Do you want to build a fairy house instead?
Mm.
So just redirecting them to something else.
Or play catch or whatever that might be,
You said, okay, yes.
depending on the age.
Depending on the age or what they're interested in, you can find something to redirect their interests. I think it's also important as the parent to know that children sense uncertainty. So if you feel clear and have peace about your family's choices, your child will absorb that confidence. And you can say, like, we choose what feels right for us in our hearts and our minds, and every family finds their own way. And so it's not like you're communicating fear or superiority, and it helps your child feel secure even when their peers may have different lifestyles.
Yeah, because eventually you're going to have to send your kid out into a home as a teenager where
Mhm.
you may not know the parents, and they're going to have to
Open the way to,
navigate that on their own.
or if they go to camp, or even just being in school, like you're not there with them. So they've got to learn how to figure that out. And I think that's an important part of friendships is when they come home and say, so and so was mean to me, that might make you feel like I need to call the other parent and talk to them. I want to really encourage parents, or even the teacher. I want to encourage parents first to work with their child. You say that child's mean to you. I wonder what that means to you. What were they doing that was mean? And have them tell you what happened beforehand. So you know that kind of what led up to that. And then I like to, this is something I do with my kids because obviously there's lots of siblings and different dynamics. I teach them about perspective taking. So I did this exercise once with my kids. We were like all on a walk and they were all arguing. And I made two of them go across the street and we stayed on the other side of the street with the other two. And I said, look at that tree over here. What do you see on that tree? And they said what they saw on the tree. And I said, I asked the other two, what do you see on that tree? And obviously they saw something different, but they're both looking at the same tree.
Wow.
So when you see something that might be the same, but you have to think you might have a different perspective on that. And so that's important to consider. And then they got that, and all of a sudden they were like, oh, and they naturally figured it out. I think we often jump to rescuing our kids when they're struggling with friendships or even in general, but we have to let them learn to work it out. If we're constantly rescuing them, they're not going to know how to navigate relationships. And so we have to teach them ways how to do it, and even role playing with them is really important.
Yeah, we do a lot of that here. I think it's super helpful.
This podcast does not constitute medical advice or recommendation. Please consult your doctor.